take every opportunity. Like, don't even hesitate about it. Just do it. Of course, you want to like think about it, right? But like, from what I've learned is sometimes like when you hesitate on like when there's like an opportunity in front of you, it really slows you down. Especially as a startup, which is one of like the main like pros of being a startup is that you can like move at a certain pace, right? You can quickly change your model. You can adapt faster than most businesses. So I would say definitely like if you see an opportunity, take it. Either like joining a podcast or just spreading like your name out there. Just do it.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of the Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as the CEO and founder of Miller IP Law, where we help startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours? Just go to strategymeeting.com, and we're always here to help. Now, today we have another couple great guests, and so every once in a while we have a couple guests on at the same time, and so is one of those great occasions today. So we have a couple of brothers, Robert and Michael Silva, and give you a quick introduction. Michael is a COO of the company, went to the University of Texas, originally as an undeclared major and then went into graphic design, started in college trying to figure out what he wanted to do. His brother was also working at Whole Foods at the time as an analyst. And so they'd also kind of during that time, his brother was introducing a lot of the coworkers to flan, which was a healthy kind of dessert type alternative. So as Michael was trying to kind of figure things out, what he wanted to do, saw an opportunity there. So as Michael was still as a student and was doing that out, they got together with Robert to explore the opportunity. Robert was on the engineering side, and so after a few years decided to kind of dive in, go full bore, and continue to push this or develop this as a business. So with that much as an introduction, welcome on the podcast, Michael and Robert.
Hey, Devin, thank you for having us on. This is pretty exciting. Just sharing us a little bit about our story. And you briefly went over it, right? I'm one of the co-founders, Michael. This is Robert, another co-founder, and then our other co-founder is my brother. And yeah, just pretty much like you covered most of it. You touched base on like a lot of like what started the company.
So I gave kind of the brief or high level overview, but let's go back in time a bit. So when you're going to University of Texas, kind of trying to figure out what you were going to do and where you were headed, and kind of help us pick us up from there. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, that was back in 2014 when that was my first semester at UT, the fall 2014. Oh man, such a long time ago. And like originally I was going in as for kinesiology, didn't get in for some reason, but so I went undeclared. I went to UT undeclared, and I didn't have idea what I wanted to do. It was like between biology and like something within like art, which is kind of weird. And then my brother, who at the time was a master's student, also like he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and that's when he went to like the data field, and he became an analyst at Whole Foods. And just he over there just started seeing like an opportunity because he was giving his coworkers flan, and on my side I was still like going through the motions, going through school. It was around my junior year when like things kind of started like coming together of like, okay, I want to do something on my own. I don't see myself working under a big company, because I was on the side, I was doing freelance graphic design, working with like other startups and small businesses, and I was seeing like how all that worked, and it seemed more free as like a creative as well. Like I love creating content, and I just love the idea of being able to like be my own boss and like just really do what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until last year, 2020, where finally everything like started coming together. All the like pieces started fitting in the right places, and flan was the product that we saw could like really we could build something around, which is kind of weird, right? Like you don't really think flan could like be something, but we were very passionate about it because it's our dad's recipe, and it's something we grew up with, and we noticed that it wasn't really out there. It wasn't any good flan. The flan that you find at the store is really like just pre-made, pre-mixed, and or people don't know what it is. Which is kind of funny because flan is like a global thing. It's originally from France and it's spread through like all these other countries. And so 2020 when we started.
So now let me dive or rewind just a little bit on that. So you guys you're doing, you're in undergraduate, and I think one of your brothers was in graduate school, and then Robert, you were working as
Yeah.
a engineer. Is that right?
Yeah, so me and Jesse and I, we both graduated last year from the Macomb School of Business at UT. I started my career as an engineer, and Jesse is a data analyst for Whole Foods. That's right.
So now, so kind of, you got a mixture of, kind of three brothers that are going in three different directions, a bit of Whole Foods analyst, engineer, undeclared, graphic design, and kind of all of that. So how did you guys, as you're started out taking different paths, are you guys still kind of taking those different paths, and this is a side hustle you hope to build into a full-time hustle, or have you guys all come on board and are doing it full-time? And kind of how did you guys all make those connections of, hey, we want to dedicate our life to flan, so to speak, or we want to put in an effort and kind of go down this route? How did those all start to intermix and interlink?
For me, I saw this as an opportunity, like I said, to create, really, right? This is something that I want to pursue fully. For the future, hopefully this can be like a way for me to like start my own things and like learn through like this business, like from each other. That's really what the goal is for me. But this is like an actual dream, like, fully dedicating to it. I'm doing this full time. When we started, I was like still working part-time. I was still going to school. I was doing part-time at one of our local grocery stores here at HEB. So I was like balancing three things at the same time. And finally I got to a point where like, this has like my full attention.
Yeah, so yeah, with me, it was a little bit different. So pretty much my whole career has been in the corporate sector, doing design and construction in the oil and gas field industry. When I met Jess, so we kind of talked about maybe potentially doing our own business, getting away from the corporate side of things and just doing our own thing. So as the years progressed, we actually decided to apply to school, to the business school, and where we got a degree in technology commercialization, where you focus on launching your own startup. Basically, it's an entrepreneurship program. So during that program, that's when we decided, all right, well, what opportunities are available right now? Looking at Austin's booming right now in the tech industry, and it's growing in the CPG industry. So why not get into the CPG industry? And that's kind of how it all started with us. So Jesse actually started putting Algo Dulce together towards the last semester of our graduate program, and then eventually launched officially in May of last year. Okay. And as of now, the goal is to quit corporate and just have our own business.
So now, as you guys are kind of going down that route, quitting corporate, is that so all three of you guys in as a business to a degree that you can kind of support yourself? Are you building it to get to that level, or kind of as you guys are all diving in or figuring out which roles you have and who does what, where the business is headed, kind of how you guys all sorted that out?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so at the beginning, pretty much we were all doing a little bit of everything. Nothing was really defined. I mean, we gave each other roles, titles, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, you're only gonna do accounting, oh, you're only gonna do, finance. It was more everybody did a little bit of everything. As months progressed, we kind of started assigning each other roles with things that we will focus on more. Like, for example, Michael started focusing more on operations and graphic designing. I started focusing more on the financial side of things, and that's kind of how it just sort of happened as we progressed. As far as sustaining ourselves just with this company for now, we're not there yet. I mean, that's our goal though. I mean, we've been growing every month since we launched, revenue wise, growing our customer base. I mean, it's been going really well. So eventually we want to get to that point where this is our job.
No, definitely makes sense. So now, as you guys have done that, and you started to build it, you're having, you're growing month over month. It's figuring out the market, figuring out what each of you are doing, figuring out how to bring it to the market, and all of that. Where do you guys see the next 6 to 12 months headed for you guys?
So when we first started this, the main goal was to get into the grocery store, and month to month we've added like micro goals. So within like the 5th month, we made our goal to like get into like these boutique grocery stores called Royal Blue, and we got into that. And since then, it's been like these micro goals, right? Because the main goal is to get into like our biggest like grocery store here, which is HEB. And I think that's still our goal, but things keep pivoting and changing so much within like what we're doing is that we keep setting new goals for us. Like recently, it's been like we're getting into like local restaurants as well because we see an opportunity there as well besides the grocery stores, and that's how we've kind of been going. We even from like the start because we kind of started with word of mouth, like telling our friends, telling their friends of friends. That's how we started selling, and eventually to become more stable, we got into the farmers markets here in Texas, and that went really well for us as well. And that's just how it's kind of been, like to really keep us like on track. It's just like adding these little goals that lead up to the main goal, which is the grocery store.
Yeah, throughout our progress, we've been having to pivot a little bit, and it's just a learning curve. This is the first company that we've ever launched. And even though we have the educational background for it, we've never actually done a real company before. So it's been a good experience though. I mean, what started off as us delivering blondes door to door is now you can find us at the stores and at restaurants. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Definitely sounds like, on the one hand, as COVID hit, as scenes adjusted, you're having to, adjust and pivot a bit. And yet on the other hand, it sounds like continuing to make progress, continuing to grow and move forward. So now with that, we'll, as we've kind of brought it up to today and kind of where things at and looking a bit into the future, we'll go ahead and dive into the couple of questions I always ask each podcast, which is the first question is along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made? And what did you learn from it?
Worst business decision, what we learn from it. That's a trick because we're not even a year old, right? And so like as maybe you've seen, it's like a lot of like early businesses, like a lot of decisions are like, was that really a good idea? Maybe, I think I would say investing in like a theme packaging was one of the biggest mistakes. We kind of like were curious and it had we're a little ambitious. We ordered like Valentine's Day theme packaging, and then Texas got frozen over. And so that's how that went. Yeah, Texas froze over. We weren't able to like really keep pursuing that theme because it really slowed everything down. So that really caught us off guard. And we just learned that like, okay, maybe since this is our first year, we should like slow down on like themed packaging and just really focus on like, building our brand first and our identity.
Yeah, and that kind of affected us because at the time we were mostly selling at farmers markets, and with the Texas freeze going on, all that shut down. So basically we couldn't sell any of the Valentine's Day products that we were hoping to sell. So that was unfortunate, but we decided, hey, let's not throw this stuff away. Let's save it for something else, So it's not a complete waste, but it was a little disappointing.
Yeah, it was like a big like learning experience, definitely.
As far as I wouldn't say a big mistake, but as far as understanding what consumers want in regards to flavors and things like that has been very interesting as well. We at the beginning of the year when we first launched, we started off with half cake and half flan, or like chocolate flan, right? Over months, as months progressed, we started noticing trends like what people want, right? They want to be healthier. They want to look at local ingredients. They want to focus on gluten-free items. So we shifted a little bit, and now all our products are gluten-free. So it's been, I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but it was a good learning curve during that time. So
awesome. Definitely sounds like things that you can always look back and say, hey, if I'd only known type of thing, I would have done something different. But it gives you a bit of a learning curve, gives you a bit of an education, and it helps you to figure out what to do next time and how to move forward on that. So that all sounds awesome and great things to learn from. So now I'll jump to my second question, which is if you're talking to somebody that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what'd be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Looking at it, I would say take every opportunity. Like, don't even hesitate about it. Just do it. Of course, you want to like think about it, right? But like, from what I've learned is sometimes like when you hesitate on like when there's like an opportunity in front of you, it really slows you down. Especially as a startup, which is one of like the main like pros of being a startup is that you can like move at a certain pace, right? You can quickly change your model. You can adapt faster than most businesses. So I would say definitely like if you see an opportunity, take it. Either like joining a podcast or just spreading like your name out there. Just do it.
Yeah, I would also say add to that, if you're not sure what you want to build yet or what business you want, don't just think of like this difficult, challenging thing like oh, I gotta be the next, Instagram or the next Facebook or Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, all those are awesome new companies, right? But at the same time, like you can come up with the simplest thing and become huge at it. I mean, you don't need something difficult to make something work.
Yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel,
Yeah,
basically.
if you have to find that one thing that people need, and you can build something out of that and become very successful.
No, and I think that's definitely all great advice, and definitely some things that as people are starting out and getting going on their business, that they should take to heart. So, well, as we start to wrap up the podcast, if people are wanting to reach out to you guys or wanting to be a customer or client, whether it's to buy one for themselves or they're a wholesaler, retailer, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out, connect up, and find out more?
So we do have a website, algolusafoods.com. You can also find us on all social media at algolusafoods. Best way, definitely, contacting us, emailing us. We will reply to like direct messages on social media as well. So yeah, that's kind of the best ways to find us.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, connect up, find out more, and support the flan out there. Now, thank you guys again for coming on the podcast. For all of you that are listeners, if you have your own journey to tell and you want to be a guest on the podcast, feel free to go to inventiveguest.com, apply to be on the show. 2 more things as listeners. 1, click subscribe in your podcast player so you know when all of our awesome episodes come out. And 2, leave us a review so new people can find out about us as well. Last but definitely not least, if you ever need help with patents, trademarks, or anything else with the business, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat. Thank you again, Robert. Thank you again, Michael, for coming on. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on. And this is a really cool thing you're doing, and definitely subscribe, guys.
Awesome.